I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't watch this episode last night when it aired because they said, where does the story go from here? In season 2, episode 3, The Path, which takes place 3 months after the attack on that town. And the the girl, Joel's partner, the little girl, Abby, I think her name, or not Abby. I don't know. I don't know the names. I know them by. She's the little girl who was on Game of Thrones. Great actress, Bella Ramsey, right? Her character is looking for Joel's killers, the Mandalorian's killers, and in this episode, she it's about her with her packing up for her journey because she's gonna go into Seattle. They're outside of the city of Seattle, like 9 miles outside of the city, and she's gonna go on horseback back into the city. And her friend Isabella Merced, the hot Latina actress who was in Alien Romulus and the upcoming Superman movie, plays like her girlfriend, and they are basically get on horseback and get to town. Now, on their way to the town, they discover a pile of dead bodies that we saw in the beginning. It was a father and a daughter in a group, and they were listening for the sounds of crickets because this is something in the forest. If you're being tracked, if you don't hear any insects in the forest, if all the insects and everything in the forest suddenly go quiet, you're being tracked. So normally, if you're going through a forest and you don't want people to find you, you're walking for 10 minutes and then you stop for 10 minutes. You walk for 10 minutes and you stop for 10 minutes. And that's how you navigate through a forest, okay? But they are doing that, right? They're listening for the crickets and everything. But they run into this group that killed Joel, and they're part of an army called the Wolf Pack, and they slaughter this group. They're in the middle of a war with this religious group who we see the bodies slaughtered. So this episode is almost like a pilot to the rest of the another show, and it's really intriguing that they introduced these two other groups of human groups. But I am gonna say that, how is it that civilization just collapsed? They have all these buildings, they have all this city, they have all this infrastructure. Why don't they have any power? Why haven't they gotten control of the cordyceps virus? Those are just some of the writing flaws of the show. How come civilization has just been abandoned? You know, there's nowhere else in the world where they got it under control or something. You know, and that's what I like about 28 years and 28 weeks later and everything is they explain that the zombie outbreak was temporary and humanity was able to regain control. But I was asking myself, where does the show go from here after they killed Mandalorian actor, right? Where does the show go from here? But they introduce a couple of interesting concepts in the show, and the show still has an all-star cast because, as we see next episode, there's going to be another major actor from Westworld and the James Bond movies. He's coming in, and so I'm super hyped. Okay. The Last of Us, episode 3, season 2, The Path. Check it out. It's gonna be a lot better than you think.